Hello and welcome to another edition of Comics and Pop. I am one of your hosts, Jonathan Rosen, along with Troy Cannon and Carlos Idarraga. And today we are going to talk about the first 3 episodes of the book of Boba Fett. Was it Sith, Carlos? I don't know. But
It's Carlos.
Boba Fett, which was 3 episodes in. So we're around halfway done.
Does it look like I'm wearing a hoodie, or does it look like I'm wearing like a real Sith like thing?
Oh, here we go. Of course.
Tell me the truth.
What's wrong with this one?
Well, all right. I got to say, so we're 3 episodes in. I'm going to take it to you guys, get your thoughts before I go full, going off. I am completely underwhelmed so far. I wanted to love this show. I really did. I was excited about it. I was looking forward to it. And like every week is like, all right, Troy, take it away first before I go full deep dive into this.
Well, I expected it to be horrible. I looked at it.
I should have done.
I looked at it like the Star Trek stuff. You had Kirk, you had Spock, you had Sulu, and then later, you had Deep Space Nine, you had Generations, you had Voyager, you had was it First Mission, First Launch, or whatever it was called. You had all of these spinoffs, and they started to get watery. I didn't really like them that much. So when Star Wars started doing them, I was like, oh, well, here we go again. Same formula. It's going to be all watered down. But I enjoyed The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian was really good. The one with the girl that's coming out, I forget her name, with the 2 blades, and the things coming out of her head, the one that helped him at the end. I thought that might be interesting. But then I heard that they were doing the Obi-Wan. And at first I'm like, come on, it's getting watered down. And I saw the first episode of Boba Fett, and I was like, okay, all right, well, I expected this. But then they started to pique my interest because they bring in other people. They're hinting about things. They haven't really said what happened with that dent in his head. That's Beskar armor. What the heck happened to his head? I'm thinking there's got to be a story behind that. Because there was a dent in the armor when he gets the armor back. So something must have happened before he gets the armor. I'm curious. Black Kastanstan is there. And that dude, I think, depending on who the Jedi is, I think he'd eat a Jedi. He beat Obi-Wan almost to death. Bit him, punched him, shot him. He almost beat him to death. And I'm sure we're going to get to his tussle in a little bit. But just my first thoughts, I'm thinking it's starting to pull me in. And it's giving me hope for the Obi-Wan series, because I'm thinking if the Mandalorian opened up the world of the Mandalorians, and the Boba Fett is opening up the world of the seedy mob guys, then maybe what they're going to do with the Obi-Wan story is open up the Force. Because they talk about the Force, but they don't really tell you much about it. I mean, I don't know what you got to have some metachlorians, whatever the heck those are. I know that, but that's it. What else is there? Is it science? Is it magic? Is it a mutation? They haven't really opened that up. And I think Obi-Wan's going to open that up. So I'm looking forward to this Boba Fett. And I'm seeing what they may do in the future.
Carlos, your thoughts, your initial thoughts.
Are you guys done? You guys done bashing Star Wars? So
I haven't even started yet.
First of all, I think that the next time that Troy and I meet, Troy's gonna have to use his bison muscle to beat me up if he ever mentions Star Trek and Star Wars on the same level again. Because we know that Star Wars is
we gotta do a whole Star Trek episode. That's besides the point.
But anyway, no. So I'm like, this is comics and pop, right? Like all the episodes that we've done are pretty much been related to comics, but because that's my thing, as you can see on my wall and everywhere in here. But my first love was Star Wars. When I was a little kid, when I first, I was born here, but I was taken to Colombia when I was 1, and then I moved back when I was 7. I moved back in 1977. Like one of the first things that I saw was the Star Wars movie when it first came out, and I started collecting all the action figures, and that was my first love. Star Wars is like, how there are people who are Trekkies, I'm a Star Wars I guess, whatever you want to freaking call us, but Star Wars was my thing. And I associate Star Wars heroes to Marvel heroes, kind of a little bit, So to me, Boba Fett is kind of like the Punisher of the Star Wars world, right? He's like he's somebody that everybody loves, even though he's technically a bad guy. He's a bounty hunter. He's a killer. He's not. This isn't a good person. So Boba Fett to me was my favorite Star Wars hero ever. So I love the series so far. I understand that there's been some slow moments, but even the slow moments to me, to a Star Wars guy, are awesome, because all the little things that they're sticking in there are stuff that are from my childhood. So it's like the whole storyline with the Sand People. I love. I love. I think it's amazing. I mean, I was having a conversation with my kid the other day. She was like, well, because she was watching it with me, and she was like, what do they really look like under there? We don't know. Nobody knows what they really look like. But I guess we're starting to find out about them. The Sand People were always, they were savages. They are savages, and they were always looked at as upon that, like a background type character. So the fact that they're bringing them in and we kind of like get to know about them is good. And a lot of people will say, well, you're kind of making them out to be good guys. No, they're not. We're just getting to know them. They're not good guys. They're still bad guys. They're still killers. They're still savages. But we're getting to know a little bit about them. And it's good that it's Boba Fett that's doing it, because Boba Fett is a bad guy. He's not a good guy. Right. So I love that whole storyline. I mean, the fact that they kind of brought him in and made him a Tusken Raider, kind of like brought him in as one of theirs, that's something that was out of left field, and I thought was great. It was a really, good addition to the story, kind of add to his backstory of, because basically it started out from him when he, fell into the pit, and he comes out of that, and he goes into the desert, and they pick him up, and he becomes one of them. So I think that's a really cool addition to the story. I wasn't expecting that, but I mean, I'll shut up for now. But I'll show the first part of since this is comics and pop. I'll show the first part of my childhood right there.
I have that actually. I still have that also.
Mr. Boba Fett, one of the great action figures. This is probably the coolest action figure ever made. There's never been a cooler action figure than this in my mind.
I gotta disagree on that one, but it is a cool.
No, believe me, they've made a lot of great things, newer ones and stuff like that. But when this came out in freaking 1977, 78, this was the coolest, most detailed action figure ever.
You're obviously forgetting the Mego Penguin, but
Well, yeah, Mego Penguin, they were cool, but they were dolls. This is a freaking action figure.
Hey, they're never dolls.
This is an action figure. All right, so
I gotta go jump in here, because all right, unlike Troy, I maybe should have taken Troy's approach here, because I was really looking forward to this. I love The Mandalorian. I thought The Mandalorian was really well done, especially after the garbage last 3 movies. Well, I like The Force Awakens. The garbage last 2 movies. I was like, Star Wars they really were like killing Star Wars. I thought The Mandalorian did a great job of renewing interest again in Star Wars, and I loved the story. So I was really looking forward to Boba Fett. And here we go. It's like, and you said a little bit of it. You said, first of all, like nothing's happening to me. It's like we're going to the same locales, the same few spots again and again. And I did enjoy seeing him come out of the Sarlacc pit. How he did that. I thought that was fun. I'm enjoying the thing with. I did enjoy so far the thing with the Sand People. Getting another look at another side of the Sand People, how that is. But for someone who's supposed to be this bounty hunter killer, he's not doing a lot of killing. He's doing like, oh, I'm warning you guys, don't get me angry. Really don't get me angry. And then, all right, I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2. Oh, come on, guys. Let's please don't. He's warning all these people. He's dealing with all these people that he wants to take over the territory. So he marches through town, just him and his little group alone. That didn't seem realistic to me either. He doesn't have this huge entourage doing his bidding, for one. So he's going to get. So who's going to get? I'm going to get for the enforcers. I'm going to get the two pig guys from Star Wars who never did anything to begin with, and I'm going to go find this random gang on the street. So again, they're going to be my enforcers. So it's like not. It's not like this whole crime syndicate that that he's ruling with an iron fist. It's all these things that are like, please, this is not Boba Fett to me. He's not laying down the law. He's not, and I know they're Disneyfying it, and I love Disney, but I don't like Disney when they push their agenda on their other properties, and that's one of the things that I am concerned about. We'll talk about another episode where they're going to bring these heroes like Daredevil and Punisher in. The same thing. It's not Daredevil and Punisher unless there's a lot of violence. And right now there's Boba Fett is sure not doing a lot of the violence to me that he's capable of. That's one of the things that's really annoying me right now.
So let me jump in real quick on that. Just I get the whole Disney thing, but obviously, it's Disney Plus, so we know it's not going to be, he's not going to gut people and take their blood and rub it on his face and stuff like that, right? So, but I mean, they took out that whole freaking train and killed half of those people, on that thing. He went into that bar and he freaking killed the whole gang by himself and took their speeders and stuff so they can do that stuff. So I get the whole thing about him, but the thing is, remember, he's on Tatooine. Tatooine is like being the drug lord over a slum. Tatooine is like, a slum planet where, these are all like poor people and stuff like that. So he's kind of like, he's taking over for Jabba the Hutt, who was even
the Hutts. Even the Hutts, they come in like, okay, we're here. We're gonna talk to each other. They're two rival gangs, really. We're gonna talk to each other. Okay, we're leaving now. Then the Hutts come back. Okay, we try to kill you, but hey, everything's all right. I know you try to kill me, everything, but you guys go your way. We're gonna go mine. Bye. Sorry.
Right, but they're right. They're not Jabba though. Jabba was the one who was the ruthless. That's why Jabba was the. They were there. I mean, I understand a lot of things, and you make some valid points and stuff. But I'm going to give it, like I said, I'm going to give it a little more time to see how it develops and stuff. Because the characters. I mean, the characters that they're introducing. I mean, first of all, old school sand people. I mean, come on. It doesn't get any better than that. We have Jawas, right? The Jawas. I lost the freaking hood for him, which is crazy. And this, to me, this was probably the coolest thing that they introduced so far was the fucking mayor. Hammerheads, bro. I mean, come on. What's cooler than a freaking hammerhead? I mean, the mayor was so cool. So we got to find out what the deal is with the mayor too, And I guess, and the cool thing, the cool twist at the end of the last episode was that I guess the people that are taking over are the people that he screwed over, that he took the train out. So now he's really going to go to war with those people because those people don't like him because he was the one. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I think it's setting up for it to like blow up the next couple of episodes.
Troy, I know you want to jump in, Troy. What's the deal with the Hutts though? I mean, seriously, it's the brother and sister. They're like all on top of each other. They're like banging his sister. That's what it looks like to me.
I think that once Troy brought up Star Trek, I don't know if we should be allowed in this to talk about Boba Fett anymore.
Sorry, Troy, take it. Go ahead.
They got that Quicksilver Scarlet Witch thing happening. They might be banging, maybe. I actually like the show. I'm into ultra violence. I like the Boys. I've been watching the Boys lately, and I had forgotten how crazy violent that was, but it was enjoyable. I watched Invincible. Crazy violent. They're ripping each other in half and stuff like that. I dig that. So when they said Boba Fett, I'm like, oh, he's going to kill everybody. There's going to be a scene where he's going to walk off set and punch the director in the face. I mean, he's going to slaughter everybody. But they gave him the whole House of Mouse treatment, and they've toned him down, which they do. Marvel does that. Disney does that with their guys. And that's kind of cool because I dig a story too. So as long as the story is real good, I can excuse, a lack of violence. But the story, what? The story's good. I would like more violence. and they've got holes, just like with Hawkeye, how they had all those holes, and at the end they just kind of threw a bunch of stuff on screen. This is what happened, blah, 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 and then they just ended it. I think that's what's going to happen with Boba Fett. He's only got 3 more episodes. They haven't talked about.
I think there's 4 more. I think it's a 7 episode.
Oh, is it 4 more?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe even 4, but they haven't talked about his helmet. They haven't talked
about stormtroopers. They showed stormtroopers, Troy. There were stormtroopers in the show.
And you know what? Something I always wondered about also, now that they've done, the Clone Wars and everything, Jango Fett allowed them to copy his DNA because he was, I guess, the baddest, of all of the, and you got to dig Wookiees, the baddest of all.
Black.
Yeah. Blackest Afghanistan, I think, would eat Chewbacca. I think he'd eat it.
Master Blackest Afghanistan. He's great.
Chewbacca's a bad boy, but I think, but so he allowed them to copy his DNA. And he's like, I want the first one, though. You give me the first one, I'm going to raise him like my son, which was technically still just him. And all the rest of the stormtroopers, at least the first batch of them, were clones of him. So are they all brothers? Is Boba related to all of the first set of stormtroopers? Now the second and the third set, with what's it guys, FN 98, the black guy, they've been captured and brought in and trained. But the first one were all clones.
Yeah. So
if there's some of those left, are those like his brothers? And if so, are they as skilled as him? Because they missed a lot. Whenever they were fighting Luke would be like, bang, 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 bang. First time he ever had a blaster, and he's shooting them, knocking them off all over the place. And they're like, oh, I can't hit him. We're descendants of a great Mandalorian, but we, for some reason, can't. They were defective, I think. So that's probably why their heads were all on spikes. They ran against some real warriors out there, and they're like, oh, just cut their heads off, man. I know they got armor on. Smack their heads off, stick them on pikes. Nobody will ever come back. That was a problem for me. The bikers, to me, that's a setup. The spike jaw guys, I can't remember what their names are. The big-eyed spike jaw guys are clearly working with the bikers because they didn't want to pay the Tusken warriors. We're not going to pay you guys. We gave the money to them, so don't worry about it. They've got your money, so go over there. And then he's going to end up trying to deal with them, and he's going to get caught in between the 2 of those factions. There's at least 3 different factions here. And I think that overall, the twins are narrating the whole thing, because they clearly want him dead. And they've got their own territory someplace else, and they've got their own, Shadow Warriors or whatever they're called. They've got their own assassins and everything. They could take this planet if they wanted it. I think they just backed up to get rid of him. But Black Kazakhstan and Boba in the comics are buds. Thinking the event, I don't know if we're giving away the secrets of the story or not, but the event that happens at the end of part 3, I think is something that's going to unite them. Because he clearly could have killed everybody in that room if they wouldn't have trapdoored him. I think he was going to slaughter everybody. But Boba does this thing. I don't know if we can say it.
Well, it's obvious to me that they're going to unite. I mean, to me, that's the storyline. They're going to get together.
Yeah. So that's his only saving grace. And I think the girl, I forget her name, the girl, Maya, whatever her name is, I think she's going to turn on him. She's too, I think she thinks that they're partners and that she's not a subordinate. She's supposed to be his subordinate.
Right.
But I think she thinks she's his partner because she makes a lot of the, she says a lot of stuff. She, hands on her fist on her, waist, and she's telling people what to do. And I'm like, that's not your job. That's not your job. When Boba was in
charge
and the dude with the crazy thing on his neck, if he spoke out of turn, he'd die. So I'm thinking, why is he speaking out of turn? She thinks they're partners. And when she finds out they're not.
Well, maybe it's budgetary, but again, when Jabba was in charge, exactly, there was this whole entourage around him. So people would, be kind of afraid to I'm not going to do anything. when people came in to see Boba Fett, they're like 3-4 people there. You know, why wouldn't you just go ahead and take that? Doesn't make sense to me either.
I think you guys are basically disappointed that Disney's doing this and it's not being done by Netflix or something else. So I mean, I'm very disappointed that you guys don't like this so far. What do you think, R2? People. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's. I get it. I love The Boys, Invincible, fantastic. I mean, what makes it cool is that aspect that they do the violence of it. And I'm from what I'm hearing is it to veer off a little for The Boys for the 3rd season. They're actually going to do the hero orgasm scene, whatever, which is like one of the most craziest scenes in the history of comic books, and they're going to do it. But that's not going to happen in Disney Plus. So, right. So I get where you're coming from, Troy, because I love that stuff too. And I guess like my bias comes to me. It would be like if they were doing a show on Star Trek or something. You guys are big Trekkies, so you guys would be, oh my God, you'd be in love. And I'd be like, whatever, it's Star Trek. But to me, this is so far, the only thing that I don't like, but it would be like maybe just 5% of the 95% that I love, would be the fact that that Boba Fett is not, just wasting people and doing and being the way he was in Star Wars, but in Star Wars, he didn't really speak. He was just there. He killed whatever, blah, blah, blah. Mandalorians, they don't take their helmets off. They just go there. They do what they're supposed to do and they bounce. So that's why we kind of like the Mandalorian so much, because he was, it was more action than him actually speaking. Where in this, it's a lot of dialogue and a lot of Boba Fett, but this is more, I think Boba Fett I think the story, the way they're doing the story to me is kind of like the old school, kind of like they did Arrow, right? Where Arrow is, you're going through the story, but then you're reminiscing of, how he got there. So I kind of like that. I like the fact that they're going back and, like I said, I love the whole Tusken Raider story. I think that's really, really cool. So I think that at the end of the last one, we saw that, the tribe that he was with got slaughtered, right? So I think that's going to play a lot into how he's going to go to war with these people now, because they had something to do with that. So these are the people that I guess that Tatooine is being handed over to are his enemies. So I think from now on, it's going to blow up.
Yeah, I do love the Sand People part. I do. I think that there's a great part. And you felt, we're giving all these spoilers. You felt it when he came back and saw all, the tribe, decimated there, killed off. But it's not even the violence to me. It's just like nothing. It just seems like long passages where nothing's happening. And I don't even feel like you should have her be kissing Luke if you want to talk about like the Hutts,
yeah, right.
The brother sister. So, but it's again there. The Mandalorian I loved, and it wasn't even so. It was not even a violent show for the most part. It just the story to me was like much more gripping every week. It was like I can't wait to see what happened next. Like I would get all disappointed, when the episode ended, and like I can't wait for next week. And this one like. The other night, I was, watching it with my son. Like, all right, I'm watching. I'm going to finish watching it because I got to see what happens. I want to see how it ends. But it's not like I must. It's not like if I stopped watching tomorrow and didn't finish the last 4 episodes, I could live with it. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I didn't feel that way with The Mandalorian.
I think the way you feel about The Mandalorian, the way you feel about Boba Fett is the way that I would feel if they made an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie. I would watch it. It's cool, but I'm like, whatever. We have, so it's like, it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like
don't you ever say that again.
A lot of people may say, we have The Mandalorian. Do we need the Boba Fett story? Like that kind of deal. So I think so. So me think Boba Fett is great. I don't know, guys. I like it. Like
first of all, it would be great. Boba Fett is for Yoda.
Boba Fett is. I think that we're in episode 3. And I'm biased because, like I said, I love this stuff, but I think it's gonna get better. I think that once it's done, hopefully, if they take it the way it's supposed, the way that we want it to go, it's going to get a lot better. Like I said, when I watched WandaVision, the first 2 episodes, I was like, it's all right. And you loved it. You loved the first 2 episodes, Jonathan. So, I think if you're a Star Wars person, you're gonna love it unless you're like, like really, really hardcore and and not really into it. But
I love it more than The Last Jedi, if that counts.
Well, the movies were a little they kind of veered off, but to me, I didn't dislike the movies. I think that the movies that they made them, the new movies, they didn't make them for classic
that's another episode we'll probably get into.
yeah, but I'm saying the new movies, I think they made more for to get new fans in, which is what the Mandalorian was made for. I think it was made for classic Star Wars fans, but to bring new fans in. But this one, I think the Boba Fett, I think is strictly for, I think for my mind, they made it for the classic Star Wars people.
Troy, you're up.
I like it. I mean, I like the show. I would want them. It's like, it's a compelling show, but it's like, say, Downtown Abbey. I'm looking at it. I've never seen that show, by the way. It's just the first show that came to mind.
I was like, Downtown Abbey.
I've never seen it, but they keep saying that was Happy's favorite show on Iron Man. So that was just the first thing that popped into my mind. So Downtown Abbey, you're watching it and you're like, okay, right, yeah, something's happening. I think there's nuns or detectives or something, and then all of a sudden, Mike Tyson busts in and starts punching people in the face.
I'm into that show.
Now I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I see what's happening here. Because when that giant Wookiee showed up, I'm like, somebody's going to get the brakes beat off of him, because that's all that dude does. So it was they interjected Mike Tyson, and I'm like, okay, all right, here we go.
Yes,
I like. And then when he showed up and he grabbed, he's sleeping, he's dreaming of pedals and sheep jumping or whatever they got that jumped over fences over there, and then all of a sudden the thing busted open and Black stands there and grabs him and throws him across the floor. I'm like, he's either going to need help or he's going to die. And since he's the main character, there's got to be some help. I thought those biker kids were going to be two-faced and not help him, but they immediately jumped out. It's the boss, and they started stabbing him. And then I started watching it. I'm like, okay, wait, he's getting beaten by Boba. He's getting stabbed by that chick who's probably going to turn out to be a Sith if she follows the cartoon. Then the one guy is wrapping an electric chain around his arm. People are punching him. And then one girl just walked up and shot him. And he's still standing there smacking people. If I walk in the room, I consider myself a man's man. I consider myself a rugged prototype of manhood. But if I walk into a room and there's a dude fighting 15 people and they're beating, shooting, stabbing, kicking him, biting him, pinching him, and he's just backhanding everybody, I'm going to turn around. I'm going back home. That fight's over with. I'm not getting involved in none of that. I don't want a piece of that. But these guys
had to see. Oh, my bad. Bye.
Yeah, I was like, have the wrong address. Wrong. And they made something.
I left my cup in here. Sorry.
The water vendor made such a mention. He's like, yeah, they're cybernetic. They're selling their body part. They're changing their body parts to be deadlier. We've seen that already. Luke's got a mechanic arm. Darth Vader is almost completely robot. That one guy, I can't remember his name, that one Sith that had the 2 arms at the top, 2 arms at the bottom, they were all mechanical arms. I'm thinking everybody's mechanical here. So why is he making a big deal about it? There's got to be something extra, because like I said, everybody's mechanical. And he's like, they're robot people. And I'm like, everybody's a robot person, but he's making a point of it. So there's got to be something special about that. And my other thought was, when they're chasing that dude that they really should have shot, the one that works for the governor, I'd have shot him like a lot of times. I would have emptied buckets of bullets in that dude, because he was just always in the way. But when they're chasing him, he's going down memory lane. Because when he's driving, that one girl that helped the Mandalorian with the little robots, she's walking down the street. The spiked stormtroopers, they drive past that. There's a picture of Jabba the Hutt and his entire entourage that the one guy with the tie, he drives through it. I'm like, this is memory lane.
That was great.
That was great. I dug that. When I saw that, I rewound it and I was like, okay, wait, let me see what I can catch. Because there's clearly, this street is memory lane. They're doing a lot of stuff. And it was a ton of stuff. Every time they showed him, there was more. There was like robots that you remembered from other series. And there were like people, the crazy head, purple head people from, the musicians, they were in there. I mean, everybody was in there. That was actually kind of cool.
The funny thing of it, when you mentioned about the water vendor, that dude was in The Office, that movie. You guys ever see that movie, The Office?
Yeah.
And so there's a meme going around with him dressed as the guy from the Office from the movie, and he's going up to Boba Fett and he's like, what can we do for you? He's like, oh, they stole my stapler or something like that when he's dressed up as I thought that was cool. And one thing we forgot to mention. How can we freaking forget to mention my man Machete? Machete came in with the new
Danny Trejo.
with the new monster, so they can train and he can put in the pit again, man. Because remember, Luke Skywalker killed the other monster up in the pit. So that was awesome, man. Machete was there and he's training them. Oh my God, that was awesome. And
I like when they brought him in, but even that to me, like, again, all of a sudden, the monster's all cute and affectionate. They're just changing everything. Like, we love the.
No, but he's not. He's training them. But right, he basically the one that it looks like he's like a baby monster. So he's training them, and he brought them in so he can train them. But obviously, they're putting him in there so he can eat people. You know what I mean? They're not putting him there. And he wants to learn to ride them so he can be, he can go in and like intimidate and stuff, right? With being able to ride them. I don't know.
He's building.
I loved it. I'm done.
He's building a force. If he's got those Tusken Raiders, because he said there were several tribes out there. Yeah. And that one guy, the king or the whatever, that one guy that was in charge that would just like, stomp his thing and then walk away. He probably has connections to other tribes. So when his tribe got wiped out, I'm assuming they probably was like, hey, what happened over there? Was that Bob? Did somebody kill Bob? And they all just probably got over there, and he's the last one. So he probably formed a faction with other Tusken Raiders because he said that there were multiple tribes. So they said that there were multiple tribes.
You holding up all these action figures is do wonders for our audio audience. But go ahead. Sorry, Troy.
So he's probably got a few hundred of those Raiders out there just waiting for his word. And then he's got the cyber biker punk kids, and he's got that assassin that I'm pretty sure is going to turn on him. And then he's got Danny Trejo. I mean, that's it. You get Danny Trejo on your side, you can walk in the streets you want to. He's going to slaughter everybody.
Except then Dusk Till Dawn, except that.
Where did I get this from? And this is from Battlestar Galactica. This is
that's not a Star Wars.
This is Battlestar Galactica, right? Yeah.
I just like that shit too.
We have audio figures. We have audio people that listen to us on audio, Jonathan. I didn't know.
He's got a little bit of a unity, but like that one kid said, there were dozens of them on that lift, and then the other girl said that's just the first wave. So they want to take the planet, not just that area. They're coming to take the planet. So I'm like, what's he gonna do? What you gonna do? He's gonna have to start pulling that blaster out and shooting people in the face. I've seen mob movies.
I hope so. What is he? Someone get shot already.
Yeah. In the mob movies, they make you sleep with the fish. They don't have any water there, not a lot, but you gotta make them sit. That guy's cool too. They need to bring him back.
The only one doing a lot of sleeping in this one is Boba Fett. He's in that water tank like every other minute. He's in that water tank.
He needs to recover. You got to recover.
So is that what he's doing? Is he recovering, or does he just sleep?
It's supposed to be a healing thing.
It's like it's a healing thing, right? Yeah. Because he's all jacked up, man. His body's all burnt and stuff.
Yeah, they put that pig guard. Remember when he got bit, he said take him to the tank or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So
he's old, man. So
yeah. Well, which episode we were supposed to be seeing Han Solo as a cameo in one of these. So
really?
That's what all the rumors are flying around about that.
Are we going to see Han Solo? Really?
That's what they're saying.
Is he going to be like regular Han Solo, or is he going to be like hot Han Solo? You know what I'm saying? But all right. So yeah. So I mean, I guess we got to keep watching. I think it's going to get better. Hopefully it doesn't, for you guys, it doesn't get worse. But I like the way it's going. I think it's all starting to tie together, especially the ending of the last episode when we find out who Tatooine was promised to, that they're his enemies. So now I'm going to say, okay, it's going to be on now.
Again, I don't hate it. I don't love it either. It's just like it's there for me. But
whatever, Jonathan Rosen.
I like it. I would just like maybe 40% more violence. And a question.
Give me violence.
Who promised it to those guys, right? Jabba didn't promise it because he's dead. The other guy after Jabba didn't promise it to those guys that showed up, because they said it.
The mayor did. The mayor probably did.
Yeah, but the mayor, he wasn't the daimyo, so how could he do that?
But after the I guess the throne was empty for a while after Jabba died. Who knows for how long? It was kind of like almost empty. So the mayor was kind of like the one who kind of like ran the town. So he probably promised it to them. That would be my guess. That's why he bounced. That's why he's now that he knew that once he promised them, he was Boba was going to come after him, and that's why he disappeared. That would be my.
Well, let us know what you guys think overall. So, what do you give it, Troy? Overall, so far, scale 1 to 10.
Overall, I'd give it if we're doing halves, I would give it a good solid 7.5, almost 7 3/4. It's almost an 8. I like the story. I like the direction. I like the premise of where it's going to go. I just want more violence. But other than that, it's solid, minus the violence.
Carlos, what do you think? What do you give it so far?
Story wise, I give it about a 7. Obviously, the story is it's not as good as the Mandalorian, right? So I give it about a 7. But nostalgia wise, and all the stuff that they're bringing up, and all the old school Star Wars characters, I give it a 42. Because I love all the characters that they're introducing.
Out of 100, or
story wise, 40. Yeah, 42 out of 8. But you know how good I am at math, Jonathan. But anyway, no, I think that story wise, it's gonna get better. Unfortunately, violence wise, I don't think it will, because it is Disney Plus. But Mandalorian wasn't like crazy violent either, and it was still a great, fantastic story. And I think that they're gonna do something in the end, the way Mandalorian ended with, where Luke Skywalker showed up. I think they'll have something big like that, where like a Chewbacca or a Han Solo or somebody like that will show up, and it'll be, that kind of deal. So.
Well, all right. I mean, I'm like between the 6 and 7 range right now for myself so far. Like I said, I like it. I just don't love it. It's just like, okay. But again, I'm hoping we have 4 episodes to go, so I'm hoping something else comes of it. But again, in the comments, let us know what you guys think. Let us know what you like, agree, disagree, and your overall thoughts. And looking forward to it. And again, this has been Comics and Pop. I'm Jonathan, along with Troy and Carlos. And thanks for watching. And please subscribe.
Subscribe.